Thank you very much. I really do admire and respect these great sheriffs up here. You know, I respect them like no other people, and they're brave men, and I really appreciate you all standing up, not only for the Constitution, but the citizens we serve, and pretty wise words. Thank you. I learn something every time I come to one of these meetings. And I've got some prepared words here, and I really want to thank all you people for being here, because you probably noticed in the preamble of the Constitution, it doesn't say, you know, we the government, it says we the people. Quite frankly, if we're going to turn this ship around and make some progress, it's going to be you the people, we the people, that make it happen. And sheriffs could help, but you're the ones that are going to make it happen. Anyway, to kind of streamline my presentation, there's so much going on in Siskiyou County, I don't know where to start. I think we're kind of ground zero for these governmental intrusions. But I also want to make the point that I agree with my brethren here up here, you know, what Mike and Tom and Dave has said. You know, we are not extremists. We're not militia members or leaders. You know, we're not against the government. We believe in the Constitution. We believe in protecting the rights and the property rights, especially, of our citizens. And we believe in standing for the Constitution and what's right. And right now, a lot of things going on are not right. And I get a lot of complaints from my citizens in Siskiyou County. And we're not here to be against the government, but we're here to challenge them when they're not following their own rules, regulations, or laws. And I must say that I work pretty well with most of the federal and state entities in my jurisdiction. We get along pretty well. Now, sometimes the policies and regulatory provisions that are enacted at the state level in Sacramento or back in Washington, D.C. at the federal level are kind of frustrating, because I just have a theory that some of these people don't really understand what the real issues and problems are out west. And in my county, we're just deluged. I mean, we're under siege. First of all, again, thank you for being here. As a sheriff, we're all sworn to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States and the California State Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Unfortunately, it seems like we have more enemies that are domestic these days. Some federal and state agencies, and I want to emphasize some federal and state agencies, and bureaucratic, centrally developed policies and regulations threaten the public health, safety, and welfare of our citizens, and are systematically destroying rural America. It's as simple as that. Don't be misled. There is a movement to destroy rural America as we know it. Our founding fathers got it right. They knew human nature and built safeguards into the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, because they knew men would screw things up, essentially. Daniel Webster once said, "Hold on, my friends, to the Constitution and to the Republic for which it stands. Miracles do not cluster, and what has happened once in 6,000 years may not happen again. Hold on to the Constitution, for if the American Constitution should fail, there will be anarchy throughout the world." For those of you who thought President Reagan was a great president, which I think he was, you know, he always looked at America. He always looked at America as that bright, shining light on the hill that is hope for not only all Americans, but also the world. And I've been in a lot of foreign countries, and I can endorse that, and I can support that 100%. Another thing I'm going to tell you that might not be exactly politically correct. Our founding fathers were Christian men, and they carefully crafted the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and they were actually inspired by divine providence. And essentially, our rights don't come from men. They come from a higher authority. Since taking office, the citizens I serve have been under siege. Siskiyou County is the 5th largest county geographically in the state with 6,187 square miles. 65% of our land is public land, mostly managed by the U.S. Forest Service. The timber industry is all but destroyed. A once thriving economic giant is now a shadow of its former self. During the early 1980s, Siskiyou County had 22 lumber mills. We now have 2 barely functioning. Thanks to overregulation, the spotted owl, environmental extremism, and bad science, our economy and traditions associated with logging are almost completely destroyed. Now, if that's not scary, I don't know what is. Siskiyou County is also overwhelmed by attacks against mining, recreation, and of course, farming and ranching are being threatened due to provisions such as the Endangered Species Act. For 3 to 4 decades, environmental extremism and dumb decisions have elevated the interests of trees, fish, birds, and frogs over the interests of hard-working citizens. The Department of Interior and many other federal and state agencies are attempting to remove 4 dams on the upper Klamath River, which will deny clean energy to about 70,000 people and destroy the economy, recreation, and habitat for hundreds of species of wildlife of numerous kinds in deference to coho and Chinook salmon. Thus far, concerns about 21 million cubic yards and tons of sediment containing hazardous materials flowing down the Klamath River should these dams be removed, diminish water for firefighting, destruction of recreation and flood control issues, and other concerns for the habitat have fallen on deaf ears. And like I said, I'm not here to tell you whether the dams should come down. I'm just telling you that the government should coordinate with local authorities and balance the needs to protect the environment and the interests of the people. And I have yet to hear these public safety issues that I have brought up to them adequately addressed. Dr. Paul Hauser, a Bureau of Reclamation's scientific advisor, recently criticized the scientific accuracy and integrity of the science used to justify dam removal. And he asserted the studies were developed to support the Secretary's expressed desire to remove the dams at the expense of Siskiyou County citizenry. And what the bottom line is, all our people want is just a fair shake from the government, and by all means, we want some honesty. And we're not getting in all cases. The environmental extremism and overregulation by some federal and state agencies have created one of the worst economies in California. Siskiyou County has some of the highest unemployment rates and highest alcohol, drug, child abuse, and domestic abuse rates in the state of California as a result of these failed policies. Overregulation has caused abject poverty throughout my county, which has reduced tax revenues for public services. The economic declines have resulted in about a 30% reduction in deputy and correctional deputy positions within my department within the last few years. Now an environmental activist organization is attempting to remove the Dwinell Dam, which would essentially economically devastate the #1 tax-generating community in Siskiyou County, Lake Sastina. This same organization helped to destroy the logging industry. It is obvious that some policies promulgated in Sacramento and Washington, D.C. are being implemented to destroy our county, our remaining economic hope, and the few farming, ranching, mining, and recreational enterprises which still exist. There is a threat to classify thousands of acres of land in California and Oregon as monument land, pursuant to the Antiquities Act, which just requires the signature of the president. This will close off the land to most uses such as grazing, timber harvesting, recreation, and mining.